Yeah, let me do that. I shall start my recording. Dan!
I could chase you around so the screen.
You can see it?
Yes, I could chase it around the screen.
Can you turn your volume up? And then you'll be able to hear my voice maybe coming through? Maybe.
Okay, sorry.
All right, I'm talking, so... Oh, it's working! All right, you can turn me off now. I hate that sound.
Do they have headphones for everyone up there?
I don't know.
Do they have the seats left?
I don't know.
I can kind of see it.
No, I think they put them all out. Right?
I have no idea. I know nothing about headphones. I thought you had to bring your own. Maybe
I
they
saw
have
them
them.
all sitting out there. There's a set of tables that's now dedicated to national instruments left.
Yeah, so it should be loosened up maybe.
They connect to something? Like you can hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Here, do it.
Well, I need to exercise.
You know what, shut up. Here, sorry.
All right, well, anyways. So we're going to start, if you have a computer, by joining the GoToWebinar if you want to, as well as downloading the files for the class. So unlike the other sessions that we did where we just started from scratch, we're going to have a little bit of stuff already done for us to go through this exercise. So to get to these files, I think I have a slide here. Oh, I'll show the rest of my slides first. So today's leaders. Apparently this isn't going to work out either, but that's okay. I'm about to give up on the leaders thing. I'm still going to be king for the day.
Yeah.
And if you see your name on here, you're also a leader. You might be working the front desk, you might be leaving before the class is over, or you might be me or Dan. So those are your options. I don't know where everyone's at, but that's okay. And then there's the rest of you.
Here, is there no spot too?
Not the classroom. They'll get pissed off if you go in there, because that's a different class. But out there, maybe. You can hang out here. You can hang out up here. You can hang out in the back. So getting the files for our class. You're going to go to this web address. You see the web address? It's meetup.com. And then when you get to meetup.com, you're going to go to our Meetup site. How many of you have signed up on the Meetup site? Because I know you all have not done so. You signed up?
I'm not sure or not. I've been on it. And
Did you, when this was posted, did you say, I'm coming to the class?
yes.
Oh, well, then you're signed up. So those of you who haven't, you should go there so that I can have an accurate head count. But that's okay. I don't really care.
Well, which one is it?
Well, he doesn't care for his sponsors.
Right. So once we get to the website, we're going to click on More and then Files. And then you're going to click on where it says Class 3-Sculpting, and you're going to save said files. So let me show you how to do that. If you go to meetup.com, to our page, you see there's a word that says More and then a word that says Files. And if you click on it, it takes you to another web address. And that one is where it says Meetup 3-Sculpting. And you can see that it is a zip archive. If we click on Meetup 3-Sculpting, at least on mine, it's automatically downloading the whopping 1.6 megabyte file. And so now I'm going to just copy that over to my desktop somewhere. Oh boy. And paste it in. And then I'm going to choose to unzip it by double-clicking on it. And then I'm going to grab all of the crap out of it, and I'm going to dump that on my desktop as well. Wow, this is very laggy today. Such is life. I'm not going to copy the PowerPoint. I already have it on my desktop. So you can see that we have a JPEG and a .f3d file. And the .f3d file is the Fusion archive file. So when you create one of these Fusion archive files, if you create a model and you export it as a .f3d file, it's going to zip everything up for you. So all of your geometry you created and your sketches and your materials for your renderings, and your cam paths and your drawings, all of that good stuff gets zipped up into this file.
What's the Meetup with Sculpting?
Yep. So right there where it says Meetup 3 Sculpting, download that and then unzip the files. And you guys can spend more time doing that as I keep going forward.
I have Mark.
All right. So you guys can keep doing that. I'm going to go over a quick review of our homework that we did, as well as how you're supposed to save your homework. I know A360.
Doing it right.
Well, some people are, some people aren't. It's tricky. A360 isn't great. But before we start, who has a piece of paper? Like preferably one that's like, what is it, 8.5 by 11? May I borrow a piece?
Yeah, sure.
And could we take attendance? Because it's very important that I know who's here so I can fail you if you're not. Thank you.
And if I fail, what will happen?
Then you're banned from any future classes.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a threat or not, but that's okay. Here, I stole this from a Marriott. That'll be good.
I don't know if we want to do that.
There we go. Feel free to sign your name there, and you could even tell me if you did your homework or not. Maybe just put a check by your name if you did the homework. So, okay, so before we review the homework from last time, let's take a look at how you save your homework. So let's say homework 3 for today. You're going to access your project named Fusion 360 Meetup -your name, whatever your name is. So that being said, many of you decided not to do that. Like when you call it Fusion Meetup, that doesn't really help me because then I have like 4 Fusion Meetups and I'm like, well, who the hell did this? I don't know whose file it is. So it's very difficult to track. And then I have to go hack into your account, and that makes me feel bad because it goes against our privacy agreements. No, it's not really the case. I just click on one other button and I find out. But it's easier, and it proves that you can follow directions by naming it this. Next, you add a new folder, and this is the part that most people miss. You add a new folder, and you name the new folder HW3. So that would be homework 3. And then here's really the trick. You might even actually create the folder, but after you do the homework and you have it sitting on your screen, this is really, really tricky. You save it, and when you save it, like do a save as, we'll say, you have to point to the folder that you want it to go into, so the project and the folder. So it would be Fusion 360 Meetup -your name, and then homework 3 folder. And then you click the save button. And that will save your model right where it needs to be so that I can mindlessly click through everybody's project and check off 30 different assignments, assuming that everybody does their homework. Show of hands, who all did their homework from last week? That's pretty good. Who did not do their homework from last week? Not good. I suppose if you had a good excuse, though.
So there's no easy way to move or delete things in A360. Is that right?
That is correct. I know, it's hard to believe.
I don't see the ongoing button, so I'm stuck here with no ongoing. I can't find.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's your class.
It's already started. You don't have to worry about I'm going at this
Well, I
point.
haven't downloaded anything.
Oh, you didn't download? Well, click on File, More,
Oh, there.
Files. Didn't know it was so difficult. Now click on that where it says, there you go. You can help here. That's good. All right, so now let's talk about the homework. Did anybody have trouble with the homework?
Which time? Second, third, fourth?
Well, the second or third, I hope you got it. The first time, it should have been.
Nice challenge.
Yeah, it should have been a little bit of fun. You get to practice the skills that we worked on, setting those holes in there, and then a little bit of something that you might not have done. Myself, when I did it, I created an offset work plane, which we hadn't done before, and created a rectangle on that, and then extruded it out so that it wouldn't go the whole way through the part. Other people were more creative than me and just did it from the bottom and extruded up. That was a lot smarter, so good for you who did that. I usually take the hard way.
Oh, yeah. Well, as a fully parameterized solution, right, which is what you asked for, it was that I created a work plane from both sides and then offset them by the same parameter.
Yep.
And then did an extrusion from one of those work planes to the other work plane. And that way, when you want to, you just change one parameter and you can change the width of those letters.
Right.
So
and you also made yours a fancy gold color, which I really like.
Yeah, so this. And then once that extrusion had been done, I was then able to fill those inside corners as requested. Now, the one thing that I think was kind of tricky, so I was able to pick a surface and draw those, what I'm going to call bushing holes, those recesses in the sides of the part, where when I designed a similar part years ago, we put bushings into, so I put in a bushing hole. And then, now here's the thing that's kind of a little, so then I had to go around the other side, put the bushing holes in from the other side, right? And it automatically snapped to the same size bushing hole on the reverse side. Now, I suppose for speed of drawing, that's very clever. I really like that. The only problem is it's not parameterized.
Right.
Which means that when I then adjusted the bushing hole size on one side, it didn't adjust it on the other side. So my solution, and I'm sure there's a better way to do it than I did it, was to draw the wrong size bushing on the other side and then set the diameter of that as a parameter for the first side.
Okay.
Because that snap to feature wasn't a parameter.
Fair enough.
Now, is there a better way to do it than that?
Probably.
So how would you do it? So, I'm in?
Well, I don't know. So I don't know about the automatic snap. That's what's throwing me off. I'm surprised that it did that, unless it maybe was using the snap to grid option.
No, it was snapping.
It was snapping to the other geometry?
Yeah, snapping to geometry.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It definitely, put it to some random number just to check that it was definitely.
Interesting.
snapping to the
That's something we could look at.
geometry.
Yeah.
So I think that could be useful, but if it does do that, maybe if it automatically sets the parameters equal, that would be
Yeah, but set the parameters.
useful.
Sure.
Rather than just setting the value, you also set the parameters.
Right, set the parameters. That would be great.
So if I went a step further than that.
Yeah, you could just
it's
rename the
not-
parameters.
It's not following the parameter on the first side, so I didn't check that.
You make your, the offset.
It's kind of, if that's.
You make two new bodies and you mirror those bodies off the center plane, and then just do a combined cut. And then you can, but to reset the parameters, just go back to the original sketch from the body.
Mhm.
That would work.
Multiple solutions to the same problem. I like it. Another problem, though, is keeping track of who did their homework. So take a look at this, and it's kind of hard to see. I'm guessing turning the lights off wouldn't help us in this case. I don't know. If you see a red box, hey, that's not so bad. Is everybody okay with the lights off? Or
Yeah, I was here last week, but I was out here.
did I mark you as not attended?
Yeah.
Well, when you sign the sign-in sheet, and as the same thing with the homework too.
Yeah, they can pass it out here to this
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely.
Hey, you got my homework.
Yep. So, if you see a red box and you did your homework, make sure you tell me so, and make a little note, and then I can go and check it.
I think that's near the bottom. I was in class 1. We got a red box from there.
Where?
Very, very, very bottom. Just cut in half.
Cut in half?
Yeah, right there.
There's lots of people, so let me scroll down here.
Number 30.
Number 30.
Yep.
Anybody else missing something?
35.
Yeah, I'm missing
35.
Totally. Yeah, I was,
Did you sign the sign-in sheet last time? You lie, unless I couldn't read your handwriting, so write nicely.
Any articles you will sign?
I was here for, class 1,
What number?
40.
40. Oh, I knew that. Did you do homework 1?
I started it, but I really.
That's a red mark. That's a red mark.
29 was here for class.
Yeah, why do I still have a red mark?
You're 30?
20.
I was going to say, wait, I've already been told that. Who else am I missing?
29.
29. Yeah. Don't worry, for those of you who are missing an assignment, there's an opportunity for bonus this class. So, extra credit, yeah. Anybody else missing?
Yes, I'm 39,
And I attended
And did the homework. I think I knew that as well. Oops.
39.
39, not 40.
Why do we keep
Yeah,
getting
that's
screwed,
me.
James? Why do we keep getting screwed on seating space?
Well, it has to do with us getting screwed in seating space. Because we decided to do this very last minute, other people were already signed up. So those guys have those 2 rooms booked out, and that was the fusion class that was actually makes them money. So
Is what?
that actually makes Tech Shop money, so that probably takes priority. But also,
The other room over there is open.
They're going out there now.
what's that?
They're going out there now, yeah.
They're going out of there now?
James, I was here, the second class, and I was here now, so I don't see why are there 2 red boxes underneath?
Because you weren't here for the first class.
Only the first class.
Yeah, first class and homework 1.
Okay. So I'm good for the second. So okay.
Yeah, we'll be passing the sign-out sheet around out there for this class.
I'm Cheryl Byrne again, 39.
You're good to go. I just didn't turn them green yet. I put X's in them.
We can open this up.
Sure, if you would like to.
Check with Justin.
Yeah, check with them first. Moving forward, though, I think we have 2 rooms throughout, like 2 connected rooms for all the classes, so that should be helpful.
Nothing else. Here.
All right. So continuing to go forward, where were we with what we were going to do? Yeah. So does everybody have the folders created or the files downloaded?
Files downloaded.
Yes.
Files are downloaded. Excellent.
I want to create the folders.
Well, we don't really need to create folders. We can, though, but we can go through that together.
Was
A nice
there anything in the
zip file.
Yeah, there wasn't. Like here,
There should be that, and there should be one .f3d file.
There was nothing in that.
In the F3D file,
Yeah.
it's all hidden.
Oh.
So when we open it, we'll have to turn the light bulbs on. All right, so let's go down here to sculpting. That's what we're working on. Are they going to open that? Maybe? No? Okay. So sculpting. This is going to be a nice, easy, stress-free class because unlike last time where it was all about dimensions and driving geometry with dimensions and making things exactly right, this is kind of free form. You kind of do your own thing, push, pull, and just rough out a shape. This is where you're going to do your early design. I want something that looks cool and has a lot of swoops and is just kind of sexy looking as opposed to that cold engineered thing that I would typically make. So like I said in class 1, I am really bad at the sculpt environment. For those of you who are artistic, you're probably going to be very good at this and probably better than me without having even used it before. But I can make do with these things as I've done them before. But it's not difficult, just if you're not artistic, you might suck at it a little bit. But that's okay. So let's go ahead and start by opening up Fusion. So for those of you who don't know how to open Fusion, like me, you have to find it somewhere and open it. I hope we're all to the point that opening Fusion is not a problem. You might find that you can't log in, and that might be because you're not connected to the internet. Ooh, let me see if there are any questions out here. Questions. Ooh, good.
Somebody's using it.
Wave. Oh, he did wave. Good. Did mine. Need to save it correctly. Invite to the project. Invite you to the project? You invite me to the project. Can this work as a sign-in sheet? Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that would.
Homer Simpson's in there, so I'm guessing not. And Gabe. What's Gabe want? Did homework 2 not on list? Gabe. Boom. Now you're on the list. Please put up the link to the files again. Thanks. All right. The links to the files are on the Meetup page. And then you click on More Files, and you click on
You okay with me opening up this one?
Go for it. Oh, I love it.
Love it.
And then go to the Class 3-Sculpting. Does everybody have, everybody have that. So you go to Meetup, you go to the Pittsburgh one here, you go to More Files, Class 3 Sculpting, and then you unzip all of that stuff.
What's your,
Yeah, you might all get hurt here. Concussed. Thank you. That's pretty good, right?
Which is the file we're supposed to upload?
We're not uploading yet. You're going to upload the .f3d file, though.
Do you want any of the other files open at this point?
No, they don't need to be open right now.
That's your extra credit.
Need to have.
Is that my extra credit? I thought it would be a nice billboard there.
It looks like a changing. Go behind the curtain.
Kinda. All right, so everyone should have the files. So let's go ahead and practice uploading the files. So if I shrink this back down, oh boy, I'm going to just put questions over there. Maybe that will remind me to look once in a while. If one of you could say, hey James, look at the questions every 10 or 15 minutes, that would be great. Well, I know, just remind me. So to upload a file, you click on the little box of boxes in the top left corner. You browse to whichever project you're working in. For me, it's going to be Fusion 360 Meetup-James. So I can double click that, and I'm going to create a new folder by clicking the New Folder button. And I shall call that Class 3. And then I'll double click on that. And then I will click on the Upload button. It's a cloud with an arrow because you're uploading to the cloud. And then I will select a file, and I think I saved it to the desktop somewhere. And there you will see Sculpting Introduction.f3d. And click Open. And then it will show you, look, this is the file you selected. And then you click, wow, and then you click Upload.
so it doesn't sync automatically like a Dropbox folder or something like that? You have to push the blue upload button to make it go?
Correct. Yep. And then we'll all see our little progress bars going across. So is anybody having trouble with this? Do we need? Wherever you saved the .zip file to, and then unzip that. So if it's unzipped,
Is that too hard to read at this point?
is that too hard to read at this point?
Because of the,
It is tricky.
Put it up over here.
Yeah.
Just
well,
open the door.
Put it up on that wall.
wait to get another projector. I think maybe we'll just open up the one
Whoa.
wall and then,
And a lot of people have the webinar going anyway.
that's true.
That's fine. Yep, you guys are stuck with it. Sorry.
We'll just keep one open just for concern flow.
That works.
No, new folder.
Oh, no, we're being nice. I see.
Save.
You're much nicer than me. All right. So does anybody need more time uploading their file?
Yes.
Would you like me to go through it again?
Yes, please.
Yes, all right. So to do it, you click on the Upload button. Is everybody at the point to upload? Let's click the Upload button, select Files, and then you browse to the file, the .f3d file. Click Open, and then you click Upload. It's called Sculpting Introduction. Try not to be too tricky here. Don't want something like the name of a file to throw you off.
I hid the instructions in the file marked instructions.
Now you just wait till you can't find them.
I'm going to sketch something else with you while you're standing there waiting.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to make another suggestion for your wonderful program here. We have cloud computing, so we can use CPU cycles for FEA, right?
In theory.
That's what I was told, was that
We
as
can.
Tech Shop members can dump projects up to the cloud.
Really?
That's what I was told, that we bought a certain amount of CPU cycles from Autodesk.
Cool.
That's what they told us. I don't know, maybe they were lying.
Sounds like a good deal.
So I'm going to suggest that we want to buy a certain number of files. We want to buy a certain number of CPU cycles for CAM calculation. Because CAM calculation, even on a fairly fast Excel computer, can take 30 minutes, 40 minutes to calculate a CAM path. That's ridiculous. We really need to have like distributed processing, or we need to have cloud computing, something, whatever.
I'll get them cracking on it tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
It seems reasonable, but right now the only thing we're doing with cloud credits, other than simulation with our Sim CFD and mechanical software and Moldflow, is rendering. We do rendering on the cloud. But CAM would be a good next choice, especially with how popular it is.
You should click on sculpting.
All right, so does everybody have the file uploaded? Yes. Okay, so next we're going to click on it over in the folder, right-click and choose Open. You could also click and drag it in, depending. I think it all does it now. It used to be that only Windows machines could do it, and now I think Macs can too.
Can two files be open at the same time?
Sure.
When you say, do you want it in class 2? It's not.
Class 3,
Class
as
2.
this is Class 3.
I didn't put it there.
Well, that's why I went over that example there at the beginning, but you didn't listen. I know.
Will my CAM path still get calculated on file 1 while
I am not part of your project. I sent you an invite, William, Scott, because you're confusing. I saw your Scott, William. So yeah, I am part of your project. At least I got the invite. So I think you're good to go on that. I was confused by your name, so I'm glad you sent the email earlier. All right. So you opened it, and you might think there's nothing there, but don't ask me that question, because there are things there. You can see construction, and you can see sketches. So you don't need to do this. I'm just going to prove to you that there's things there. If I click on this little down arrow, look at all of these great sketches that I have created. Pretty impressive, right?
You were keeping them from us.
I'm keeping them from you. I lost my chair.
There's plenty of them. Back here.
I'm at, it's behind me. I lost my papers. That would be unfortunate. Awesome. Someone jinxing me?
You found them.
I found my papers. I want to make sure I'm guiding you through everything. We opened already, so that's good. What else are we doing? Oh, we're creating stuff. Yep. Awesome. So we're going to start by not clicking on Modify or Sketch like we normally do. We're going to click on this purple ball. So clicking on the purple ball sends us to the sketch environment, or the sculpt environment, I'm sorry. You can tell that you're in the sculpt environment because most of your icons turn purple. So if you get these purple icons with the little lines all over the place, you know you're in sculpt. If you don't see them, if it looks like this, you're probably in the model environment. So we want to be here in sculpt. So from sculpt, we're going to start by creating a very basic geometry. It's going to be called a box. So to get to the box, it's under Create, and we can choose Box. Very simple, right?
Under model.
We hide it there. If we go and define the plane that we want our purple, not our purple box, I guess it is a purple box, to be created, we're going to choose this bottom one, And then we're going to choose a place to start from, and that's going to be this little center point. And we can click and drag. So it is kind of like what we did before, just click and drag. And right now it doesn't matter what dimensions you have in there. So just click on another spot, and you're going to see that it shows up something like that. So let me close this. So that you're going to have some sort of box on the screen. So each of these little lines in the sculpt environment, so this box made up of all of these different lines, those are all places that you can manipulate this geometry, where you can just press and pull and twist and bend it all around. But before we do that, we want to actually define the size of the box that we're working with. So, what size is that? Let me flip the page over and see. Ah, that's right, it's 175 in the length box, 150 in the width box, and height, I don't know, maybe something, I don't know, 75. I think I can't see it right now. But I'm going to go ahead and click this little fit button, and it's going to zoom it to my screen. So now we have our dimensions. So all of our boxes should be 175 by 150 by 75. Now don't click OK yet, you're not done. And I'm betting somebody probably clicked OK already, but that's okay. We're going, height is 75, width is 150, length is 175. What are you doing over there? Why are you an inventor? That's completely the wrong program.
You didn't book a room with computers. I'm still waiting for a company to accept cloud computing.
All right. So before we continue on and click OK, we're going to also change the length faces, width faces, and height faces. So what's that do? Well, it changes the number of these little boxes. So if we change length faces from 2 to 3, you can see that additional lines got added. So instead of just having one here, we now divided the length into 3 different segments. So instead of 1, we have 1, 2, 3. We're going to do the same thing for width. So instead of 2, we're going to type 3. And height, I think we'll just leave at 2. And then we'll click OK.
What was the icon you clicked to fit screen?
To what? Oh, down here at the bottom, there's a magnifying glass that says fit.
What if you hit OK and you need to go back? I need my box back.
Well, why did you do that? I specifically said don't do that.
Go back to the arrow up. Hit the reverse arrow.
Yeah, hit the reverse arrow up there.
Well,
Keep trying. Oh, now draw it over. Oh, you went too far. Now.
yes.
Yeah, these aren't that great for changing the geometry.
All right.
So who knows what we're working with? What are these lines called? T-splines. That's right. I'd give you like a piece of candy or something, but I don't have any candy. I should bring candy. That would be good. It would.
You want hyper people?
It would improve class participation. This class doesn't talk enough, so. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. And so, like I was saying, all of these little lines, spaces, dots, everything can be pulled and twisted around to create my geometry. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing, but not just yet. First, we're going to click the Finish Form button, and when we do that, you can see that we've now left the sculpting environment and we've gone back to the modeling environment. Answering the question that's sure to come up, can I do both sculpting and modeling in the same model? And the answer is yes. So not only can we create sculpted, cool, wavy faces, and we can turn them into solids, or we can manipulate them there, we can also then use our typical 3D CAD modeling to extrude or cut into them or change them like we would with traditional CAD activities.
Do you have just like a 25-word definition of model versus sculpt?
Model is defining your dimensions and making a 3D box. Sculpt is making swoopy, curvy lines and organic shapes.
But theoretically, you should be able to get the same end result in both ways?
In theory, yeah.
Okay.
Much easier in Sculpt to get like a lot of curves and waves.
Okay.
I still don't have division by 3s there.
175 by 150 by 75.
No, I only have the 1. See, we can do the other axes.
Here's a quick question. Your image has the far edges shown. Mine is okay.
When I want to do something.
This is yours as well. How do we get that transparency?
Down at the bottom, this little display settings, visual style, you can choose what works best for you. Myself, I like visible edges only normally. I was just using that for a different activity.
Well,
So I've used the sculpting a lot.
Okay.
And I've always wondered,
Wow.
that's probably not what
if
I need.
you could, I've always had this question about whether or not I should take sketches and then turn those into a sculpted environment. The only thing that I've been able to do is take a sketch, extrude it with the sculpt extrude, and then make faces.
Let's see that
But it
one.
doesn't really, sometimes it doesn't create a good enough sculpt, like beginning sculpting surface. But then another thing would be turning just a normal shape that you made in the modeler into a T-splined object.
So the first one, not really well. Like you're saying, you can make the sketch and then you can put a face over it or a cylinder over it or something like that, but then you have to manipulate it. The other part, you can go through and you can convert them to T-splines or convert them to .obj files, but we can look at that after this.
Okay.
All right, so does everyone have a box?
Not subdivided.
That's okay, you don't really need it to be subdivided. So we're going to go ahead and expand the bodies and turn off this light bulb for body 1. And you say, James, why did I bother making this box? And I say, well, we're going to come back to doing it. Expand bodies, click the light bulb, and hide said body. Next, we're going to go ahead and click the light bulb next to the sketch that's named Revolve. Can you guess what we're going to end up doing with the sketch named Revolve?
Revolving.
Hey, revolving. That is correct. See, and they told me that you were a slow class. Well, that's good. Okay. So
the first rule of tautology class is the first rule of tautology class.
Totally.
All right. So let's go into the sculpt environment again. To do that, you click on the little purple ball. So everybody click on the little purple ball. And now we're going to choose underneath of it, just like we did before. Instead of choosing box, we're going to choose revolve. I like these steps that I wrote out. It's funny because I actually say, oh, in addition to revolve, you could do things like extrude, sweep, or loft. Clearly, it's sitting right there. Obviously, you're going to know that. But anyways, we're going to click on Create Revolve, and then we're going to click on the sketch and specify the profile. Click No Selection and the axis, and click the Z-axis. So, what's that all mean? So for the profile, we're going to click this cool little swoopy line that we sketched in there. And then for the axis, it's nice enough, once we click the No Selection option, it highlights the origin and the X, Y, and Z axis. So for us, we're going to pick Z, which is the blue one, and click on it, and look at that. Woo! It takes it and it revolves it. Why did it revolve it all the way around? Because right here, we have it set to full. Well, what if we don't want it to be all the way around there? What if we only want it to be half of the way? Well, we could change it to angle, and you would think the easy way to do that would be, say, 180 degrees, well, I don't like that half of the model. I'm going to change it to 90 degrees. And instead of direction one-sided, I'm going to say symmetric, and it flops it over to the other side. Look at that. Now it's only half of that shape. Pretty amazing, right?
Yeah,
Uncanny.
I'd say the cup is only half full.
The cup is only half full.
I see an igloo.
An igloo? It does look like an igloo. You are correct.
So what actually are we revolving? A line?
We are revolving a line.
Okay.
So that's a good question, really. So what are we revolving? We created a sketch, and you can create that sketch over in the model environment, or you can use sketch over here in sculpting. Myself, if I was going to be sculpting something, I would probably do it in the sculpting environment. It just seems natural. So we made a little spline there, and now we're revolving it so that we can manipulate it at all of those points, faces, lines, whatever. And the reason that it has as many as it does is because of the number of faces that we have in both of these directions. So it's 8 by 8. If I made this 4, you could see that it shrinks it down. Or if I made this 12, it would increase the number of things here. Is there a reason I'm hearing my voice?
And the
What's that?
benefit of having more faces?
What's that?
The benefit of having more or less faces?
So the benefit of having more or less faces,
Smoothness.
the benefit of having of more or less faces is because you can more accurately manipulate it. So the more faces that you have or the more lines that you have, the more you can push and pull things in to make it more accurate. Right? The bad side of having more faces is that after a while, Fusion can only handle so many. I don't have a rule of thumb as to how many that is, but if I made this 100 by 100 and then started manipulating it, it would probably take a very long time to make those changes happen. So work with it carefully, see how it does, and go from there, I guess. You can play with it. Practice makes perfect.
Can we now change, seeing as we did a spline, we have no thickness on that, if we wanted the ball of that thicker?
We have no thickness on that, and that's a good thing to point out. So let's go and look at that. So this might come in handy later on when you're doing your homework, so you might want to pay attention to this. So I clicked OK. I'm going to now click Finish Form. That was good because I needed to remember to do this eventually, so it's good that you pointed this out. So as you can see, this has 0 thickness, or virtually 0 thickness. This revolve was just a surface. So when you're modeling over there in sculpting land, you are usually making, well, I guess you're always making just surface models. So you need to define some sort of thickness if you want this to be a 3D geometry, like if you wanted to 3D print it or something like that. So how do we make our thickness? We go to one of these tabs. Under Create, we go to Thicken. So Thicken thickens things. So we click on that. We can select this part. And then we could either click and drag or type in a number. So if I type in 1 millimeter, you can now see that my part is now 3D. Alternately, I could type -1, and it thickens it in the opposite direction. Pretty logical, right? Before I do that, I also want to point out, right now, before I click OK, the little orange symbol, that's just showing that it's a surface. So the part before that we made that was a box, that's a solid, and this is just a surface. Once I click OK, it hides that surface, so it still exists, but it creates a 3D body because of that thicken command. So now you can see a beautiful 3D body. Oh, boy, it doesn't matter. You can make it 1, you could make it 5. I let you have creativity in this class. Question?
Yeah, but I kind of feel bad asking.
You can. I might ignore it, though.
Are these 2 different bodies, or did you make this thing body number 3 from body number 1?
Body number 1 is that rectangle that we made, that box. That's
They're
it.
totally unrelated. Right?
Body 2 is the surface, and body 3 is the solid form based off of that surface.
Okay.
If you manipulate body 2, will it impact body 3? Because let's say you put a dent in body 2.
Excuse me? I'm sorry.
Would changing body 2 impact
No.
body 3?
Unrelated now.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not, it's not like they're associative at all.
Okay.
If you go back and try and click in again, it won't let you click it.
How do I change the faces once I click out of it? You can right click and edit the stuff, or you can delete it and do it over.
Same one.
Download a file without a sketch inside. What are you downloading? Okay, well hopefully the next one has sketches inside of it. Make sure that if you click on the down arrow, you can turn on the light bulb next to the sketches, and that will turn them on so that they're visible. All right, so moving on. Does anybody else have questions before we move on? How did I get what line on? How did I make it thicker? You click on this sketch where it says revolve, and that makes the line.
That's it. Here's some. We're down here and you click on here.
So 150, 175 by 1.
So that's like your sequence of stuff.
Right. So you have to go back and manipulate an original sequence rather than, so it's like changing your mind rather than adding to your decision. Whatever.
Very tricky.
Which flavor of ice do you have?
Just moving on, yeah. Do you want to revolve it, or are we good moving forward? Okay. All right. All right, so moving on. Let's flip the page. 6. Done. All right. So what are we going to do? We're going to hide body 3 by clicking the light bulb, and if you happen to have any sketches turned on, you're going to hide the revolve sketch as well. And then we're going to turn on the sweep path and sweep profile. I know this is a tough question, but what command do you think we're going to use? This class is impressive.
Switch the legs.
I like to think it's all of that AutoCAD experience you have.
Yes.
All right. Oh, you've got a hand raised. Hold on. What's up? You click on the light bulb next to sweep path, and you click the light bulb next to sweep profile. See if they're not turned on, like they're not bright. That means you can't see them.
What happened to your revolve button?
I hit it. I just clicked the light bulb to hide it.
My light bulb's already dark, but it's still.
The body one. So up in bodies, that one. Yep, sure.
This thing and that thing.
Yeah, so it does like break, that's a good point. It breaks everything out into bodies, sketches, construction objects. Everything has its own little folder. So sometimes you might turn off sketches, or even turn off sketches altogether by clicking the big light bulb next to the sketches folder, and then you'll forget to turn it back on, and when you go to sketch something again, it will yell at you saying, these are invisible. How can you sketch something that's invisible? And so then you have to click the little light bulb to make your sketch again. All right, so anywho, we have this great sweepy line and a little box drawn. So guess what environment we're going to go to? The Sculpt one. And we do that by clicking the purple ball. Yes. At which point we're going to choose to sweep. Not the leg, just sweep. Just sweep. Create. And sweep. And so I should point out that there are other commands in here, other than these ones. We have modify, and we're going to look at this later, but I just want to intimidate you with all of these options that you have in there. Look at all of those. Whew. You're never going to be able to master this. You'll have to keep having me teach you. I'll be employed forever. Okay, no, not really. So anyways, sweep. And again, the little box that pops up tells you exactly what you have to do. You have to choose a profile, and you have to choose a path. So if we choose the profile, it fills in one selected. And if we choose the path by clicking on no selection next to path, we can choose that curvy line. Whoa! Pretty cool, right? So let me go through and do that again. I choose sweep. Sweep is under create, yep. Then I choose my profile, which is that box, square. I choose my path, which is that line. And woo!
Made a water slide.
It is a water slide. I don't do water slides or roller coasters. Oh, this is a good time to take a little side story because I like to tell stories. So before I became involved in Fusion 360, I was part of our simulation team. And our simulation team, specifically with our simulation mechanical software. And one of our companies that used it was Six Flags. And one of the guys using it designed roller coasters and would call me up for technical support and show me the work that he was doing analyzing the rides. And I will never, ever, ever ride anything there after seeing the engineering work that he did to analyze these things. I'm sure they're perfectly safe and over-designed, but what he was passing off as a legitimate answer was just horribly scary. So that's my story for the day. So one other thing in this menu, I think you all have your water slide up there, is the orientation. Right now we have it set to perpendicular to that line. If we set it to parallel, woo, you can see how it changes. Perpendicular, whoop, parallel, whoop. So most of the time, like 99.9% of the time when you do a sweep, you're going to use perpendicular. Most of the time, you're going to just use the default value. Some of us were showing an example in the first class where we probably could have changed that option, but it was already confusing and poor enough, so I guess it's okay that we didn't.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Phil, for pointing that out.
So am I still, to get the dialog back, am I still supposed to be able to right-click the history at the bottom? And it seemed like it worked before the last update.
I don't know, maybe it didn't. Maybe, like, down here you mean, to edit it?
Yeah.
So if you finish this form, which now that we're done here, everyone can click Finish Form, by the way. In here, when we're over in this environment, you can right-click and edit it that way, but it only brings you back to the Sculpt environment. It doesn't bring you back to that actual menu. Oh, crap. Can I plug in my computer to something?
Class is over in 9 minutes.
Long enough to get the front.
Maybe. I'll give it a try.
If not,
If not, he has the power. All right, do we have any other questions while I'm plugging this in?
Yeah, how did you draw that three-dimensional
Ooh, that's a good
line
question.
in the first place?
So,
Check your question menu.
yeah, it's not going to make it.
Try. We might get another couple inches that way.
Okay, hold on one second. Now I'm going to die for sure on this, but that's okay. Perfect. All right.
How far out of the way can you pull it?
That'll be okay. So first for the twisty line, to do this, you draw the spline over here in 2D, and you can then finish the sketch, and if you hold, I believe, the control button, you can click on the points and pull them in different directions to make a 3D twisty. To make it accurately, question?
So when do you want to slice this in?
Thinking the perimeter.
In the model environment, you could just draw a rectangle, like another one, and you could sweep it along the path, but only make it the half one. That would then cut through it. So where I'm at now, after sculpting and leaving that, right. Make another sketch that follows that same sweep line. So instead of that whole square, just make the top half of it, and it'll cut the material away when you sweep it. Yep. Are we good? Are we bad? Well, body 4 is just the revolved surface right now.
You might want to check your question menu.
Oh, thank you. Question menu. Question menu. Oh, no other additional questions since last time. Thanks. Keep up the good work. None that I'm answering. Sure. If you click it, you can rename it to whatever you want. Renamed body.
So you can parameterize a curve like a helix.
You can go dig around with it, but not in this class you can't. All right, so moving forward. Moving forward. We're hiding our body. Next, we're going to also turn on more sketches. So we're going to turn on the loft center line, loft circle, and loft triangle.
Can we go back a second?
We can.
What was the difference between sweep path and sweep profile? There were two.
Those are different sketches, yes. So if I hide these, sweep path was this
gotcha.
line, and then the profile was the square.
The sweep as a create was just the sweep path?
Yeah, the sweep.
There's not two different types of sweep.
No, so in here was just the sweep command. We were just naming them sweep path and profile because you need two things defined to make the action happen.
So you should highlight what?
James,
Center line?
can you go and do slices of the slide, of the sweep?
Yes, you could. So, all right. So since it's been asked a couple of times, let me do this real quick, like. So if I don't do this along with me, if I go and I don't know if I can even do this quickly. Let me thicken this thing first. So I'm going to go to my thicken command, click on this. I'll make it 1 millimeter thick. And now I'm going to sketch on this surface. I did not sketch on the surface that I wanted. Jeez. Yeah, well, too bad. Yes, you can do it. So what I would do is create a half of a rectangle where that first rectangle was created and sweep it along that same path. But instead of creating geometry, I would use the cut command, and it would cut all that geometry away.
Right.
All right, so moving on. We don't want to be here all night, I don't think. We need to have loft.
That shop would be open.
What's that? Tech shop would be open. We need loft center line, loft circle, and loft triangle all shown, visible on our screen.
I only have center line. What?
Scroll down.
This?
No.
Oh, no, it's hiding. There we go.
No, here.
Way better. Well,
Just a reminder, right? Okay, so clicking the purple ball sends us over to the sculpt environment. And now we're going to use the loft command. So, very lofty. Lofty expectations for this class. We're going to choose loft, and then we're going to choose a bunch of stuff. The triangle, the line, and that thing. And it gives us an error. Well, that's no good, so let's not do that. We're going to go to loft, and we're going to click the triangle and the circle. If I can click it. Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun.
So
Ask how many people have gotten that.
you could have done the loft not without going into the sculpt environment, but your surface wouldn't have been able to be sculpted, right?
Right, it would have made a 3D geometry then. Yep.
And that's just gonna connect.
So after your software crashes because you pick a point instead of the face apparently, you send your error report and then we'll fix the software.
I've selected all three, but it doesn't mean it says body creation.
Hold on, stop working ahead. You have to crash your software with me. So there's something that just popped up that said, hey, it was autosaved. Do you want to open it? And I say, heck yeah, I want to open it. And so I still have my twisty slide. It's not that this crashes a lot, I swear. So back to lofting. I go to loft and I choose the triangle. And then I choose the circle. And when I do that, check it out. Pretty impressive, right? But that's not good. We want it to curve around that line. So what I'm going to do, just to make it a little easier, is cancel out of that. Did your computer die?
No, I have to leave.
Ah, you have to leave?
My apologies.
It's okay. We're going to loft. It was nice having you.
Thank you very much.
And this time we're going to choose the triangle, the line, and the circle. And it's going to yell at us. And we're going to say, why are you yelling at me? And we're going to change convert to profile to convert to center line. And it's still going to yell at us. And we're going to have to...
You pick triangle and line.
We're going to do that all over again. We're going to loft. We're going to choose these two, convert to center line, and choose our center line. And if I could ever get it to work, that would be impressive.
You have to have the second one selected as you click convert to center line.
I have to have the second one.
So, yeah, there you go.
There we go. Thank you.
Say that, okay, say that again now.
So to go back,
You have to tell it that the second one you select is the center line, not the line. So on number 3, as it's selected, if you go like you did, convert to center line, it will work.
Law.
order of operations.
Go ahead. So the order is.
So the order is, on loft, click on the triangle, click on the circle,
Yeah.
and click on the line, and it yells at you because it thinks the line is also a profile, which it can't do, and then you change convert to profile to convert to center line. And since number 3 was that line that was selected, it knows to curve it around there.
So it wouldn't matter if you started with a triangle or a circle, you started with a round.
Right.
In face, in face.
On the triangle, it selects one edge.
It didn't
The straight line was not the whole perimeter.
If you zoom in a bit, you should be able to select the whole thing. I don't think it'll really matter if it selects that whole outside profile, but if it just selects the one line, that might be trouble. But if you zoom in and select the triangle so that the whole thing highlights, then you'll be better off.
Then we just press OK.
And then you just press OK, and you have this great curvy shape. What's that? Yep, and then finish the form. So with the form finished, we then, what's that?
We have a gas dispenser.
We have some sort of nozzle, yeah. We can hide all of that stuff, because that's what we do. And we're going to go back to our box. So do we remember body 1? Am I moving too far ahead for everyone?
Can I not see this?
Okay, we got the body.
You're gonna reopen body.
Mine's still at 2. Hide it. Oh, that's because.
What was that box?
Oh, yeah, hide that. Hide the body as well. Up where it says body? Yeah, there you go.
The body one.
And then sometimes you do grails too.
This is so confusing because all this stuff is here.
Well, it's not all related. I mean, I think the point here is that he's showing us there is techniques that are not related. They were not making one whole item at all. 5 of these things.
This one I sculpt on it, it's a little different, I don't really know the correct button. What were these? You can't even put it up or you want it. I can't.
Sculpt environment?
Yeah.
Or you just do it in the model environment? If you
Yeah,
did a sculpt, you would have the
yeah.
surface. And then
I mean,
that's what I'm guessing you're redoing.
23.
All right, so moving on, let's check on questions first. You too, no.
Very descriptive.
Okay. Okay, that's not good. All right, well, whatever. Moving on, we're going to show body 1 again. Remember that square that we made?
Is there a way to modify the dimensions of that if you get it right?
No, I think you're pretty much hosed at this point. I'm serious. I don't know why. I don't know why it doesn't do that anymore. But over here in your sculpting timeline, you can right-click on the ball and choose Edit, and you'll go back over to the Sculpt interface.
Which ball did you click on? The bar?
Yeah.
It depends on the order you created stuff, but if it's the very first thing you created, it should be the first ball.
Oh, down here.
Not on your timeline. Right.
And then I went to Edit. And then I got this box with all these lines again.
Where's the edit?
Right-click and choose Edit. So now all I'm really going to be doing here is working with just like 1 or so commands. And that's the most powerful command in all the sculpting universe. And that is, under Modify, Edit Form. So when I choose Edit Form, there's just all sorts of stuff I can do. There's all these options that I'm not even going to look at right now. Those are for you to play with as you want. I'm going to click on that surface and I get this crazy looking mechanism. So what's this thing do? Well, it manipulates all of my stuff. So like I said earlier, you can do this to surfaces, edges, or points, vertices in this. So right now, we can go around and play with all of these different lines, arrows, dots, whatever you want. So let's start by clicking my favorite thing, which is this center dot. If I click on it and pull up, you see that it shrinks the face, or if I push down, it expands the face. So you can go ahead and do that. If you click on this plane, one of these flat-looking things, you can click and drag, and you see that it moves that entire face around on that plane. And the same with that one. You can click on the individual arrows, and it will move it up and down, left and right, back and forth. You can click on the little round-looking things and twist the part around if you so desire. You can even click on these little angled things and contort the part as you see fit. Or these other lines, which will again stretch and shrink these all about. Maybe my favorite command of all is Control Z, well yes, is holding Alt down, and when I click and drag and let go, look at that, it made a whole new chunk of geometry for me. If I hold Alt down and press up again, it makes another chunk and another chunk. Oh, look at that, look how amazing. So look at my geometry. It used to just be a box. Now it's all contorted up, and I've added layers onto the geometry that I was manipulating.
No, that's not.
James, I'm stuck.
Why are you stuck?
So my body is wet, right? And I click right here. I guess I am under edit form. Yep.
You're doing the output. Try selecting a face.
So it's not just surfaces that we can do this to. Like I said, you can select, say,
Can you show us how you did that one more time?
which one? All of it?
The alt drag.
All of it. Okay, so I select my surface
How do I launch the program?
and choose Edit Form. And if you hold down Alt and pull up on this, it creates a chunk for you.
So you're pulling up on the arrow and not the face.
Right.
So all you're doing is edit form, and you're not
Yep.
changing anything else.
And holding the Alt. It also works on that little panel, or if I choose it. So anything you're doing, it's going to just keep adding geometry with Alt held down. And so that's what I have right now. It's all smashed and gross. So this geometry is not going to get created. So that's one of the things you have to be careful about when you're sculpting, though. If you're making something 3D like this, you can't have these elements, like these faces, overlap with each other. When they start intersecting, you can't actually have that sort of 3D sculpted geometry. So you can't have them folding over each other. So you have to be very careful.
Not suitable for flying bottles.
For what?
Flying bottles.
I don't even know what that means.
Three-dimensional meter strip. No.
Okay. So what is it?
I see.
So what is it that you do? Oh, apparently this helps. Yeah, I don't think this helps, but that's okay. We're going to go into box mode. If you're on a Mac, hold Control and press 1. If you're on a PC, hold Alt and press 1. Alt 1. And this puts you into box mode. You can use this to evaluate your model, and it will tell you where you have problems with it. So if you do have parts overlapping, this is where you go, Alt 1 or Control 1, to figure out what's wrong with your geometry. I hate box mode. It just confuses me more. So I'm going back with Control 3 or Alt 3 and going back to my beautiful little world of swoopy geometry.
So I do have a plane sticking through another plane. What is a...
Yeah, if you could edit it and move it back to a reasonable point, or Control Z the crap out of your model until it goes back to where you want it. So like I was saying before, it's not only faces you could do that with, you could also do it with lines. So if I select that line and choose, what's it called, Edit Form, you get the same little doohickey that you can pull up and pull around and shift all over the place and manipulate your geometry. And even better, if you want to be more accurate, you can do it on an individual point where you can edit form and click and drag and click and drag and click and drag. So all of you play around with that for just a little bit more to try and get the hang of it. I'm going to open up my model that I tried, if I can find it, and see.
Can you add another point on a line?
Hold on now.
Okay.
Gosh, you steal all my fun. Let's see if I can find my model. Maybe it's in here. No, not in there either. Do you? Do you feel artistic?
And what happens if you have intersected planes? Don't cross the stream. No.
You don't cross the streams is right.
So what happens if you cross them?
Well, I can't find my model, unfortunately. But I was making a porcupine with this. So I just kept pulling a whole bunch of real sharp things all over the place into these little porcupine. And I had the dream of 3D printing him out of metal and said I could just sell all of these as great little figurines, and then I found it for like $10 online, and I was like, screw you for having that idea before me, and That was my story for
I
that.
think the problem is just lack of marketing. You should mark them as weapons.
There you go.
Throw them at people's spiky things.
Right?
So what happens if you do have intersected planes? I mean,
You have to get rid of them.
No. So it doesn't mean anything in physicality? You couldn't print this as a physical form that just doesn't exist?
It'll just air out in the program. In reality, I suppose you could, but if you have intersecting geometry, it's one thing, but like how I had it, like this, edit form,
You're gonna blow up the 3D printer.
and how I do that, you can't do that. Like how they flop over and into each other. I don't know how to clearly say it until you screw it up and say, oh, that's the problem. But now let me.
Basically, we're not going to be able to output an OBJ or something that'll be useful once that
Correct.
geometry's been created.
Correct. So I just intersected this. You can kind of see it right here, how it's flopped in here. If I Alt-1 it, you can see these sharp points that smacked into each other. Those are no good.
It's just to learn.
So when I click Finish Form with those intersected things, this is what what happens when you're doing it poorly. It gives you this error message and shows you this is where all of your damage is being done because you have these things folded over each other. So this way you can then try and go back and pull the faces apart from each other.
Does this mean you can skin a cat differently?
I could skin a cat differently.
Yeah.
You could. There's 3 ways to skin a cat that I know of, and that's one of them.
You
I
should,
don't
Yes,
want
you
to know
can.
any of them. Okay.
Okay.
I'm all set.
you should look up spear inversion when you're done.
Spear
It's
inversion.
a fantastic video. How to
Okay.
turn the spear inside out. You'll love it.
How do you get out of the box on that? Is it
How do you
just
get
Control
out of
one again?
Control 3?
Control 3, got it. Thank you.
Everybody goodish? Ish? Okay. Moving on. One last thing that we would need to do.
Error state. Just how did you? Because I seem to click out of something and it didn't give me that error state with the red over.
Well, then you didn't have any errors.
I clearly have an inverted.
Well, then you lied then. Then you clicked OK. I can't help it. If it didn't give you the error message, it's okay.
Okay.
It's smarter than me. So I'm going to look at questions on here, then we'll go to the last thing. Can you edit entire splines, not just sections? Can you edit entire splines, not just sections? I don't.
Can you select more
Well,
than
you
one?
hit Control and select, you'll be able to.
I don't. Oh.
Select 2 faces.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, entire bands. Yep, we're going to get into the bands here in just a second, and you can also choose multiple faces. So if you hold Control and select down the different faces or the different lines, you can pick more, or we'll have an easier way to pick those entire sections like you were talking about. So hold tight just another minute. All right, so last time we're going into this sculpt environment until we get into our exercise for the night. What the hell's that do? Did you see that? That was really weird.
It's your porcupine.
Maybe it was the porcupine coming back. So I'm going back to create form again, and this time I'm going to create a box. Hey, very easy, right? I'm going to click that bottom plane and the center point, just like the last time. But this time I'm going to define it to be 100, 100, and 200. 100, 100, and 200. I don't think that was right. Height. Heights. Yeah, that's right. Is that right?
100 millimeters.
Yep, 100 millimeters. So it looks like a little refrigerator or something when you look at it. A very small refrigerator, but a refrigerator nonetheless. Next, we're going to change the faces to be 4, 2, and 2. So that's what it's going to look like right there.
I see. So you can take some
From what? This is a new box. So let me go back and go through that again. If I'm in the model environment, I click on the ball that says create. I click on box underneath create. I choose the bottom plane and the center point, and then I sketch out my box and define my geometry to be 100, 100, and 200.
Something's not quite right, because what I'm seeing is not a, I'm not getting your dialog box, I'm only getting a,
You probably have it compressed somewhere.
I'm getting, okay.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay.
So 100, 200, and
100, 100, and 200.
Is there any way to control the amount of filler?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, one basis.
That's a lot of complicated.
And it's still not an exact spec. It's still not, oh, 10 millimeters or something.
I don't think I have all my other steps.
4, 2,
Well, this one
2.
hasn't created yet because you haven't done finished.
4, 2, 2. Yep.
Maybe I didn't do finish. So I've already won. I don't have bodies 2 through 8.
Yep, 4, 2, 2. All right, so now let's click OK. Oop, out of Revolve, click OK. So we have this geometry. Now, what if we want more detail to this geometry? Like before we said, well, you're hosed. What? Outsource it, yes. Alternately, instead of just selecting one line, you could double click on it and select the whole band. Whoa! Whoa. Double click. Thank you, that was better. Double click on that line. Is it? Maybe on the Mac it's blue. Huh, interesting. So anywho, we're going to go ahead and use the modify insert edge command. So modify insert edge. And you can see that the edge that we're projecting onto there is showing up in green on my computer. I don't know about your computer. Is it green? For nothing if not consistent. And so this is a value between 0 and 1. So if you click and drag on this thing, that's where it would look at 1. And that's -1. Oh, I guess I just lied. But you know what I meant. So let's go ahead and move it and say 0.5. And instead of having our line with a single location, let's go both directions. Look at that. Pretty impressive. So now we're going to be adding lines in both directions. In which case we can click Enter and be happy. Enter as an OK. So next, we're going to double click that line. See that line going around the whole thing? And we're going to choose Edit Form. I told you it's the most powerful, useful tool over here in the Sculpt environment. Under Modify, yep, or the right-click menu. And I'm just going to grab that center ball, and I'm going to pull it in and make it skinny, and click OK. Isn't that fantastic? Now what if I don't want all this detail up at the top? I could double click that line, if I can actually select it, double click it and press delete. Oh! But can you hear that? Outstanding. And now I don't think it really matters. You could right-click delete, you could press delete, you could maybe find some other way of doing it. Any way you want to delete it, you go ahead and delete it.
Backspace and delete are the same or no?
Backspace? I don't know. Double-click, press backspace. Yep, backspace does it too. So there you go, 3 ways to delete. Are you leaving me?
I'm going to leave you.
It's been fun.
I got good stuff done this class, though. I actually got 360 installed.
Attaboy.
I don't know what was wrong with it the last time. I just downloaded a different installer and it went fine this time.
Next class.
Wow.
You're set.
I'm in there, man.
Awesome.
No, that's on the other.
Question back there?
Over again, how to select this one, you run a segment, you select the whole band,
Double click
double click on the segment. and get the whole band.
on the line. On the line.
Under modify,
Ah, there it is.
yeah, modify form, right?
What? Edit form? Yeah. Under modify, choose edit form, and you can edit the form. Or right click and edit form.
So are these things up here that have the little dimple also bands?
Little
Or
things
does
that
it-
have the dimples.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so
This guy?
that swoops down.
Yep.
But is it a band?
Yep. It won't do the whole thing though. It'll only have that one segment because of the point that it comes to. Yep.
Peanut gallery, did you have a question?
On the top line, see like,
You didn't have enough lines to begin with, that's why you deleted to make it look like that.
Entirely possible. Pittsburgh. Okay.
I don't know, it's starting to look like a root canal to me.
Oh.
Plug my charger, it's this one.
No, I'm
Wiggling a lot.
Is that the power bridge never?
I think the PowerPoint is part
oh
of
wait,
the,
no,
there's three
nothing.
files that downloaded.
Double click on this and then nothing was selected.
So when you go to the Meetup and download the files,
If you go to the
PowerPoint
and
is
then
one of
look
those
at
files. So you should, if you moved it to your desktop,
Yeah,
it should
no,
be
that's
there.
fine. I was just
double click
I don't
on
know. What do you about? Zoom in more?
yeah.
Can we box select it?
You actually have to click on this line. This line. Double click on
Oh, you have to box select the whole line.
It's just gonna be that section if you double click.
I'm not
on
sure
the
why.
bottom. It's kind of hard to because there's so many numbers there.
All right. Moving on to tonight's exercise. Very easy exercise. Piece of cake.
One push-up.
What? No, that's not easy.
Easier than a form.
That's true. Much. We're going to finish form. We're going to click the X. And we don't care if it's saving or not or whatever. It's going to automatically save anyways. So don't worry about it.
If that's true, no. I think I didn't say finish form and I've lost 2 through 4.
Yeah, what happens?
I should have said finish form.
Sure, you can say
Wait
finish
till
form.
the finished form, I'd hit the OK.
Okay. That's fine. We don't need to save this geometry.
Okay,
Goodbye.
good.
I'll miss you. Have fun. I know it won't be this fun, but have fun.
Oh, I see. I may have-
Ouch. All right. Okay, well, that's reasonable then. All right, so everybody stop whatever the heck it is you're doing and just close this freaking file.
Just close the file.
I'm getting tired and hungry, so let's get moving. Jeez. Close this file. Close. See this little X up here? Click it. Not if you've already closed it. Not if you've, oh my goodness.
Yep.
That one, yep. Click. Bam.
Did I have to save first?
Nope.
Yeah, now it slaps at me.
Has everybody closed their file? All right, this is wonderful. Thank you. You can save it if you really want. We're going to start by inserting an image. So remember the first class? Who was here for the first class? Remember how we inserted the bicycle? That's right. We're going to repeat this, but we're going to learn a really cool trick along the way. So, well, I always withhold information. That's what keeps you coming back. 'Cause maybe I'll learn something this time. Maybe. Insert, attach canvas. And then we're going to choose this here plane. Insert, attach canvas. And then choose this plane, that highlighted one.
There's no, oh, okay.
Insert, drop down, attached canvases. Select that plane because it tells you what face, that one right there.
Upper left.
The one between the green line and the blue line. Now we're going to select the image. So that's wherever you put those files from before. Choose utilityknife.jpg. And you see, it might come in kind of wonky. Do people use the word wonky here? Okay. We're going to click and drag this around so that it's 90 degrees. So mine says minus 90, and I'm happy. Pretty cool, right? Well, yeah. What? I can't make that promise, but most files, JPEG, PNG is it? Something like that.
All right. Mine is.
Scroll down over there. We're waiting for the group to catch up. We're going to check our questions while we're there. Let's get to the homework. We're not getting to the homework yet. And we're going to change our opacity. Opacity? And change it to 85 so that it's very clear. Right here. 85. And check the box, display through, so that when we sketch through it, we can see through the picture. And then we'll click OK.
Suppose I've already inserted this, or would it change the opacity, or should I re-import insert it?
You could, either way, you could just redo it.
How do I get to if I want to change the opacity?
You could right-click and edit it and change it.
Right.
So you see that it's all under canvases. You could right-click on it and edit that value. But we're not going to do that. We're going to do something way freaking cooler. We're going to right-click on it, and we're going to choose Calibrate. Pretty cool? You don't know what it's doing. Don't agree with me. Bless you. Right-click and choose Calibrate. We're then going to rough it out. Let's click here on the tip and click here on the back, and it says 17 millimeters. I say, well, I don't want a knife, whatever it is, with a utility knife that's 17 millimeters. I want it to be 180 millimeters. And press Enter. And kablamo, my picture explodes. So if I then go down to the Fit button, there it is. So now, instead of just sculpting something that's a random size based on that picture, my picture is now the 180 millimeters that I wanted it to be.
Did you just pick random points?
The front and the back, give or take. You have to use right-click, calibrate, and then you measure it from one point to another point. And then you type in 180. Up. Right click over here on canvases.
Or here.
Right click, choose calibrate. Now click towards the front, right at the edge, and then at the back, right at the back. And then your value that'll show up, type in 180.
I don't get that meaning.
Yeah, I'm not sure you're out of the last operation.
Right click on that.
Right. But I
Click escape a bunch of times.
He's got the grid.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know why you have that. There you go.
then we do what?
The old click escape a bunch. All right.
Calibrate.
Are we good? Yes, calibrate. Click the front.
Click on the front.
Click calibrate. You click the front.
The front
You
of
click the
blade.
back.
Yeah.
You type in 180. Front, back, 180. And that's scaling the size of the picture to then be 180 millimeters long instead of like 18. Make sense? I thought so. Next, what are we going to do? Well, the whole class has been about sculpting, so we're going to go ahead and click on the little purple ball to enter the world of sculpting. And as we've done twice before, we're going to choose a box. So go to Create, Box. And as we've done before, we're going to choose that center point after choosing this plane. So choose the plane that's flush with the, like straight into the screen. Choose the center point and click and drag your box until it's roughly the size of this knife. The whole knife.
So it kind of overlaps.
It kind of overlaps. So it's going to look like that. You see it?
You pick the plane first.
Yep.
Box, plane, center point.
Who has questions?
Create box.
Are you choosing the plane?
I'm always full. It always comes to me a question.
Okay.
Opacity.
I did that, I got
Yeah, did not
purposely
list the
opaque
opacity, that's the one
box
step.
in front of my,
Mine's rather opaque.
mine's more opaque.
Did you click OK yet? Don't click OK. Don't click OK. You're OK for now.
Does that
Yeah.
mean we can do a production box for that?
I have no idea what you're talking about. A production
We have
box?
the dimension of that, we can make a regular box to ship the.
Oh, sure, yeah, you could do that. Yep. That you could.
Okay, so what I need to do is turn down the opacity of the box so I can see the knife. So how can I see the knife through the box?
I don't know, it should just do it by default. How do we do that? I think maybe once we're done creating it, we can tone it down. So let's go ahead and change the length to 175, the width to 35, and the height to 25. Can you hear me out there? It's creepy. And we're going to change the length faces to 5 and leave the other one at 2.
The width faces.
You can't.
He's still in Create.
Yeah, I'm over in Create. Did you click OK when you weren't supposed to? Then you should start over.
75.
I'm serious. That's unfortunately, I don't know why it's doing
One
that.
side or symmetric?
So, we're going to change symmetry from none to mirror. Oh, and you can see that we're all set to click OK. You can't see
And
anything.
one side, not symmetric?
I think just one side. Ouch. You have to check the box for height symmetry.
Oh, you have to check that?
Yep.
Oh, shit, I just lost that box.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Working ahead's just a son of a gun.
I'll try again.
Go back.
And then we'll click OK.
What, Control Z?
And then before you do that,
So we're pretty much almost done, believe it or not.
I don't know how.
I know, it's hard to believe, right?
edit form.
What? I did mirror symmetry.
And then you said you were
And then I
change the box
I checked
opacity.
the height, yeah, I checked the height symmetry. Yes, for the opacity, I believe if I right-click on it, there's probably something in here, like maybe properties or physical materials or appearance. So let's go with appearance. Nope, that didn't work either.
create a box.
I heard someone shouting about it in there. How do we change the opacity of our thing? Okay, we find an answer.
I don't remember his numbers.
175.
Let's see what questions we have while we do that. Well, okay then. We're almost there, I swear, don't worry.
25. 5 faces on the first one.
I don't know. Why is yours different than
And
mine?
then,
Wouldn't you think?
Symmetry mirror.
I'm guessing someone has their setup crazy.
Wow. You see,
It's easy to take notes.
So why did, yeah, the display through. Excuse me? I didn't hear you. What was that?
If you will go one level higher,
Uh-huh.
glasses,
Uh-huh.
right click, capacity control.
Thank you.
For the picture, yeah. So
That's
for
the picture.
right, so what you missed was over here, right click on this thing and choose edit canvas, like where it says utility knife, and then check the box that says display through.
And now, the utility knife and bodies. Body 1. Convert display mode. Okay. You're giving feedback. A little bit.
All right. So now
that was the opacity for the knife, not the box.
the display through. Yeah, not that. Oh goodness. Directions. So if your shape, your sculpted shape is not opaque, click Finish Form. Not everybody, just the people who don't have it opaque. Right click then on Utility Knife and choose Edit Canvas and make sure that you have the checkbox for Display Through checked. After you check that box, click the OK button. And it should be then very transparent. Following, right-click down on the line and choose Edit. And it will take us back to edit the shape of this box.
I think you have to finish one to be able to do that.
And how do you classify the box?
Excuse me?
We still haven't classified the box.
We haven't? It didn't work?
My box my box is opaque.
I thought it was supposed to be opaque. I thought that was what you wanted.
Yours is translucent.
Why did you click the display through? Did you shove it down to 85% as well?
I got for the knife itself, but not for the box.
So change the opacity of JPEG, not the
Right, that's what I did. But the JPEG is behind the box.
Is your view on Ghosted?
Where would that be?
Would be under the visual style? Shaded with,
Yeah, I guess that could do it, huh? Shaded with hidden edges do you have on?
Visual style. Shaded with hidden edges, yes. So what should it be?
That sounds good. Let me come around and look.
There's only about dozens of things. And you guys should publish your notes.
Not until I actually go back and try and use my notes.
Yeah. This really is, you gotta have a buddy.
So,
Buddy.
okay. We'll put it in there.
Night, if I could stay in the house.
Oh, no, it's in there, sorry. Go into Fusion.
And that's.
Yeah, there's a certain button on here that does it. Yeah, there's it's a certain.
All right. Are we pretty close to being there? Hey. All right. So all you have to use is the Edit Form button. You select some stuff. You can choose Edit Form, and you can just click and drag your stuff to match. Look at that. Everything's moving. You can right-click a face, Edit Form, and you don't have to do it just the way I'm doing it. You can do it the way you want to do it. So just go ahead and choose these different lines, points, and everything else, and get it to match up with this shape the best that you can. It doesn't have to be perfect.
You need to have it on the, you need to have the symmetry turned on.
Having the symmetry turned on would help so that both sides of it are getting manipulated, but it's not necessary, no.
Okay.
How did you subdivide the regions again? I know you're a trick for doing it.
522.
What do you mean?
Like, so I have one big region instead, mine's divided into 4 instead of divided into 2.
Oh, if you double-click this line, under Modify, you can insert edge, and that will add additional edges, which I'm going to actually do just so I can have more control.
So double-click, and what's the insert edge?
Modify, and then insert edge. The second option is up there.
Insert edge.
Wait, you didn't finish your form, did you?
I didn't, no. I'm editing my form.
This is not going well.
And if this is your first try at it, it's okay that it's not perfect. I know. Back in my day, we didn't have partial credit. Well, in my day, we do, so it's all good.
This is very similar to a program I learned years ago. I don't know if it still exists. You know something called Vellum?
Not I. What is vellum?
No, something that does this.
Starting to get illogical.
It looks just like this thing we're doing right now, where you're able to pull cross sections.
Okay. So you might want to insert some edges in there to give yourself a little bit more control, which is what I'm doing.
Give it a couple wheels.
You should go on to our gallery and see some of the cars that people make. It's just stupid. Yeah. Like Alias, like all car manufacturers use Alias, and it's ridiculous seeing what they make. Okay. So when you're done, keep doing your thing. It's okay. You can click Finish Form, and you can rotate it around, and look at that beautiful form. Whew. So if I hide my image, I can see that great curvy shape of my knife. I can go and cut stuff. I could add some additional details in there if I wanted, but I don't. So I've already spent enough time looking at this knife. But please, let me know if you're having trouble with getting your knife formed, and I can come try and help you out.
What's the output?
Not in the sculpting environment. Remember that little ball? The first time. It's great. And
Go to this thing right here.
now you can use edit form to drag your lines around.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you could just do that.
For all of you out there not in the room with me, if you did not sign the sign-in sheet, come into the room and sign it. If you have any questions about what we're doing now, we're just going to do it for a few more minutes, and then we'll take a look at the homework assignment that will be due, and that's that.
Oh, this wasn't homework.
No, this was not homework.
This is just practice, okay.
I saw you working out there, that's why I said that.
The dragon part, what's that called again?
You're just a heckler, you don't get to sign.
I know.
He's not listening.
Oh, you?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I was in the other class.
Mm-hmm. How was it?
Very good.
Did you learn about T-splines?
Yes.
I bet to make the lamp head, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And that was the lamp shape was T-spline and all that.
Yeah.
You come in, yeah, it's pretty good.
Good.
It's coming. I can check.
You can sign the paper too.
I keep, excellent.
Can we
But
dump
you're,
it?
but you're gonna have, you get here, this is part of the tutorials, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I just pick up that tutorial between now and I get it downloaded.
Can we output this as like OBJ? We can output this as something for it?
So it depends what you want it as. Most people will just save it as a useful file, but you can save it as an STL. So maybe that would be helpful to you.
As I say, OBJ is what I need.
An OBJ is what you need. Yeah. Yeah. Is there a save as OBJ as well?
Or if you double click on the unsaved.
Double click on what did you say?
Right click on the unsaved part where it just says underneath browser where it just says unsaved. Where there should be your project name. So go up, right there, and then click export.
Ah, there it is. No, that won't do it either. I know there's a way to get an OBJ file out of here, but I don't know what that is.
So wait, what do we want to do with it?
You just want to click Finish Form when you're done.
We have to finish, all right. Well, this is,
If
it's
I
only
go
inside
into
the
the
box.
meetup page, does that have a link to the?
Yep, it has everything you need. Maybe.
OBJ got a new file export.
File export?
I believe so.
From which environment, do you know? Let's see here. Edit.
All right.
File export. I just.
Nope.
There's a black line. Oh, that's the
How to export OBJ files. I would suggest typing that in and then watching this video, because it's 3 minutes long and I don't feel like doing that. Blah, 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 blah. Listen, why is it so loud out there? Jesus.
Just the blah blahs.
Modify, then there's another option, then there's another option.
I'll find it. No worries. If it's in there, I'll find it.
What about the rest of us, Bill? Huh?
Modify, convert. That's what it is in the Sculpt environment. Modify, convert, and then you can do different crap. So anyways, all right, so does everyone have their thing finished?
So,
Let me see if there's any questions lastly. All right, so let's go look here. Question?
If you wanted to make a blade to it, would you extend the line, or how would you?
So I would probably make that a different part altogether.
Or just another
Since,
object?
right, so it would have different material properties and a different look to it. So I would finish this and go back to the model environment and then make an extrusion to kind of cut a hole into it to have a place for the blade to fit, and then model the blade in there. Since it's a relatively, we'll say, same thickness as the blade. I would just model it that way.
Exporting as an OG.
Did that. So homework number 3. Since we just learned about sculpting, we're going to have you sculpt a water pitcher. Or it could be a pitcher of iced tea or lemonade or sangria, whatever it is that you want it to be. So I just threw this together because it was really quick. You can make it look as fancy as you want. It doesn't have to look exactly like this, but it could be using some of the different features that we didn't look at. I made mine from a cylinder. You could revolve yours like we did in class and create it that way. But I want it to be a sculpted and form-edited shape. And then you'll have to use the thicken command to give it some sort of thickness. And it needs a bottom to it. There's multiple ways to put a bottom on it, but that's up to you to find out. You can do it in the sculpt environment. You can do it in the patch environment. You can create something in the modify environment. It's up to you how you want to make that bottom, but it also has to have a bottom on it because that's how your liquid stays inside of it. If you really want, you could put a liquid inside of it. There's different ways to do that easily as well, if you so desire. I didn't. I just made mine glass. So last but not least, you have to render it. And some of you ignored that from the last homework assignment because you don't like me, I assume.
Conspiracy.
Right, it's a conspiracy.
This what you were taking.
Right. So try to render it. It's an awesome environment. Go in and do that. But for extra credit, if you want credit for one homework assignment missed, or if you think, I'm probably going to get drunk and hungover and not want to do a homework assignment in the future, you could do this and get extra credit, where you can add a really super awesome handle onto it that is curvy with a nice spline, attaches to the vase correctly or the pitcher correctly, and does not have extra material hanging out in the inside, so that it's joined in one piece, so that it's all one nice, beautiful vase.
What is that on the inside?
It's just the reflections. Yeah. So it's the glass material model.
Ice cubes.
Ice cubes, that's right. So if you can put in that beautiful handle, bonus points for you. Also, if you do it the way I did it, it's just wonderful. I love the one command I used.
Yeah.
Let's do it in the, we scope this out, make it into a solid, and then make the handle.
Put a bottom on it.
Put a bottom on it. And then instead of doing the thickness tool, what we're talking about, like actually making it solid.
No, you have to use sculpting. You have to use sculpting to start. Oh, okay. And then what are you going to do?
And then use a shell command.
I don't know. I need to we can ask somebody else to speak to that question.
I don't have the link for it. You like
Yeah, so it's really good. You have to make sure that you're,
so if you go here to YouTube, that web address, you'll find the video under training. Bless you.
606.
So if you have more questions, feel free to stick around. If not, feel free to go home or do your homework or whatever it is that you do. And hopefully I can leave soon. No, that's not true. Sure. But let me know what questions you have, and if you have any trouble with it throughout the week, feel free to email me. And I'm going to stop this video.